In this video, we're going to talk about pages 139 to 146 of your Chapter 6 packet. So this chapter is going to be all about working with food. Here are some things that you are going to do and that will be on your test. So you're going to calculate the number of calories that are consumed based on given a list of foods, and then essentially you're going to add up all the items. Using ratios and proportions to calculate fat calories and change recipe yields. So like if a recipe is made for 6 people, but you only want to make it enough for 4 people, how you would find the different amounts for each ingredient. To read and interpret nutrition information on food packages. To find the number of calories your body uses when exercising, and knowing the difference between how many calories you burn when you run versus when you swim, things like that. Calculate the times food should be cooking to be ready at a given time. So let's say you have guests coming at 5 p.m. and something takes 2 hours and 30 minutes to cook, like when you should start preparing that. And then use nutrition information when planning meals. So going to the first lesson, it's all about counting calories. So please take a moment to read through this. A calorie is a measurement that indicates the energy value of foods. Celsius is a temperature scale where 0 represents freezing and 100 represents boiling water. We use Fahrenheit, but we've talked about how to go from Fahrenheit to Celsius before. Many people are concerned about calories. A calorie is a measure of heat energy. It is the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water 1 degree Celsius. Calories measure food consumption because food contains energy for our bodies. The more energy that a food provides, the higher the amount of calories that it contains. So here's an example of different foods that somebody might consume in a day. So for breakfast, we have some cereal, skim milk, and strawberries, and these are the corresponding calories. So go ahead and just take a look at this table because you are going to need them for the first set of exercises on page 141. So what you're going to do for these first 6 examples is you are going to find the number of calories that we consume in each scenario. So if I were doing breakfast, for example, I would go back to that table and I would add up all of these where it says breakfast. In this case, I would take 100 plus 50 plus 15, and then that would give me 165. So that's what I'm going to put for this one, 165 calories. Okay, so that is what you are going to do for the other 5 examples. You're just going to add it up based on what it's telling you. So for number 5, for example, it's telling you to add up for the entire day. So you're going to add up all of the things they ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and including snacks. Okay, so please make sure you complete those 5. And then for the next part, you are also going to use the chart to help you. So doing number 1 together, how many more calories are there in a piece of apple crumb pie than in a piece of pumpkin pie? And thankfully they wrote down the calories here. Otherwise, you can go to the previous page and look them up. But how many more calories? That means that this is a subtraction problem. So you're going to take 430 and you are going to subtract 230 to figure out that there are 200 more calories in the apple crumb pie versus the pumpkin pie. Okay, so all of these word problems also need to be completed in this page. Go ahead and use page 140 as needed for those calories for each item. Going on to lesson number 2, the key to ratio. So a ratio is a number relationship between 2 or more things. Okay, a ratio is a comparison for 2 quantities. We use fractions to represent ratios. Study the following examples. So suppose there are 16 females and 14 males in your class. The ratio of males to females, so the order does matter. If I'm comparing males first to females, we would write it like this, 14 to 16. You might also see it like this, 14 to 16. But if I'm asking you to compare females to males, make sure you flip those numbers, right? Because females is represented by 16. So then I could say 16 to 14 in that case. So the order does matter. Now, we may ask you to reduce the ratio. So in this case, if we're reducing 14 to 16, if you're writing it as a fraction, the first one goes on top, the second one goes at the bottom. And your calculator can reduce this for you instead of having to do it by hand. The way that you're going to enter this in the calculator, you're going to go 14, and then you're going to click the ABC button. and then 16, enter, and that should give you 7/8. When you are doing something like this, so entering 16, ABC 14, you're going to notice that the calculator gives you a mixed number. It's going to say 1U1-7. So this is saying 1 1/7. The way you're going to fix that to get the 8/7 answer is you're going to, from here, click the second button, and then ABC again, and now enter. It should give you the improper fraction of 8/7. So if you're getting the mixed number, but that's not what you want, try clicking the second button and then ABC, and it should change it to a different type of fraction for you. Okay? So for this set of examples, here's what you're going to do. You're going to write the ratio in the simplest terms. So if we're doing 2/4, first thing you can do is write it as a fraction like this, but then put it in your calculator using the ABC button, and then reducing the ratio to 1/2 in this case. Okay? Or if we're doing something like number 13, 145 calories to 15 ounces. Again, you can use the ABC button for that. If it's giving you a mixed number, go ahead and click second ABC so it can give you the improper fraction of 29/3. So I do want it as one fraction in simplest form. So make sure you're using that second ABC function to help you get the right fraction. For lesson number 3, we're going to talk about proportions and solving using cross multiplication. So when two ratios are equal, we say that they form a proportion. One way to tell if the ratios are equal is to compare the cross products. This answer is obtained by multiplying the denominator of one fraction by the numerator of the opposite fraction. So I'm going to ask you if two fractions are equal, 2/3 and 8/12. Okay, I'm going to do it off to the side. But essentially, what you're going to do is multiply these two together. So 2 times 12 is 24. And then when I do 3 times 8, that's also 24. So yes, because those are equal, that means those two fractions are equal to each other. Okay? If they did not, so let me show you an example where they are not equal. Let's say I have 1/2 and then like 5/11 or something. And I want to know if these two are the same. You would multiply 2 times 5 is 10, and then 1 times 11 is 11. So obviously they're not the same, so these are not proportional to each other. Okay? So that's what you are going to do for this set of examples. You are going to see if they are or are not equal. Let's do 1 and 3. So if I go this way, 5 times 6 is 30. Okay? And then I go this way, 3 times 10 is 30. I just want you to put an equal sign if they are equal. When I do this one, 8 times 3 is 24, and 5 times 4 is 20. Because they are not, just next to it, I want you to put does not equal. Okay, and that'll be enough. So go ahead and complete the rest of the problems there. Going on to page 144, now you're going to solve for the missing value by doing cross multiplication. So when you are solving for the missing value, you can just simply put an X there or any other letter that you like, and you're going to solve by using cross multiplication. So your first step is to find the cross product. So you're going to go 2 times 25, and that's 50. And then the second step is you're going to multiply 5 times x. I actually don't like the way they're doing it there, so let me do it off to the side. 2/5 equals x over 25. Sorry, let's do that again. So 2 times 25 is 50. And then I'm going to cross multiply this way. 5 times x is just 5x, right? 5 times x, the opposite of multiplication would be to divide both sides. So then x comes out to be 10. I think this is the easier way. If you want to try to do it their way by showing those 4 steps on the right side, go ahead. But most of you have done a cross multiplication, so I think this is going to be the easiest way to approach it. So for all of these exercises, 1 through 15, you are going to cross multiply. And again, if you want to replace that box with an x, do it, right? So go off to the side and do 1/3 equals x over 12, for example. 1 times 12 is 12. 3 times x is 3x. Then you divide by 3, and you get x equals 4. I do need to see all of your work for all of these. That way I can give you credit in your process grade. Okay? So you are going to complete 1 through 15 on this one. 2 more pages here. We are almost done. Last one you're going to do today is lesson 4, finding calories with proportion. So you may eat or drink different amounts than are shown on the calorie chart below. How can you use the chart to tell the number of calories in any amount of food? One way is to use proportions. So this is going to be good calculator practice for us. So it's telling me, for example, that some fruit punch, if I drink 12 ounces of it, I'm going to consume 175 calories. So the way you would use this, like let's say I only consume 6 ounces, right? Then I would use proportions to figure out how many calories I'm consuming, because if I only drink half of the given amount, then I'm only going to consume half of the given calories. So in this example, we have how many calories are in a 16-ounce serving of chicken enchiladas. So chicken enchiladas are 9 ounces contain 280 calories. So I'm going to set up that first proportion. The 9 over 280, that is my first fraction on the left side. And then I want to know how many calories are in 16 ounces. So notice how I place the ounces at the top, and then if we're doing calories at the bottom, we have to keep calories at the bottom. Again, if you want to put this with an x, that's fine. And then we are solving for x. So again, I'm going to go off to the side and show you how to do this. Ignoring the ounces and the calories for now, I'm just going to write 9 over 280 equals 16 over x. I know that my final answer is going to be calories, so just keep that in mind. But you're going to do this the same exact way. Multiply 280 times 16, and you get 4,480. And then you're going to multiply 9 times x. It's 9x. Because those are being multiplied, you're going to divide both sides by 9. And that means that you get 498. Okay. So we get 498 calories in my 16 ounces of enchiladas. Okay. Then we have another example here. How many calories are in 1/6 of a pizza? So going back to the table, a whole or a 14-inch pizza, that means 1/8 of the pie is 186. So this one looks more complicated because there's a fraction involved, but you have a calculator. So 1/8 divided by 186 calories. Now I want to know what happens if I eat 1/6 of the pizza. How many calories am I going to be consuming? So we have 1/8 over 186 equals 1/6 over x. You are still going to multiply these two together, so go ahead and practice putting that in your calculator. You're going to do 186 times, and maybe use parentheses just to make sure, 1 ABC 6. When you enter that, your answer should be 31. If you're not getting 31, try it again. Maybe use parentheses again. And then 1/8 times x is just 1/8 x. Now technically 1/8 and x are being multiplied, so I would be dividing both sides by 1/8. This is again great calculator practice. We know it's going to cancel out, that's the whole point. But here's how you're going to enter this into your calculator. 31 divided by parentheses 1 ABC button 8. So you're telling the calculator to take 31 and divide it by the fraction 1/8. When you do that, you should get 248 calories as your answer. Okay, so this one's more about knowing how to use your calculator to help you find these things. All right. Now, on the last page you are going to complete today are all of these, and you're going to use the number of calories on page 145 to help you. So, first one, if I want to consume 8 ounces of fruit punch, I need to go back and see for the fruit punch. It tells me that for every 12 ounces, there's 175 calories. Okay, so if I'm going to consume 8 ounces and I want to know how many calories I'm consuming, you want to make sure that you're keeping the ounces in the numerator, the calories in the denominator, so that then you can just cross multiply and solve. Okay, so when we cross multiply 175 times 8 and then 12 times x, when you solve for x, you get 117 calories. So you're going to have to flip back and forth between pages to set up your proportion and then solve for the new whatever you're looking for. Same thing for this bottom part. Let's just do the first one together. So a can of chicken and rice soup contains 2 servings. Each serving has 130 calories. How many calories are there in the whole can? So a can has 2 servings, okay? And each serving has 130, so all you have to do in this case is 130 times 2, because we want to know how much is in the whole can, and the can has 2 servings. So 130 times 2 is 260. So there's 260 calories in the entire can. Okay? So by the end of today, you should have all the way to page 146 completed. All the examples, every single one, because I am grading this for your process grade, which is half of your overall grade. Okay, and that's the end of today's video.